Hello and welcome to another rousing edition of Performance AnxieTEA.
AnxieTEA.
I'm your host, Joan Elizabeth, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Lisa Anderson.
Hello.
And today we're going to just be spitting factoids that we found on Google for you. And I am seeing these for the first time, so this should be very exciting.
Maybe we should do a check-in first. Like, how are you, Joan? Are you able to read today?
I think so.
Yeah.
I did complete a CPR class this morning. I had to renew my certification for my day job. So.
Yeah. Lovely stuff. So you are already wound up, ready to work.
I'm ready to save either of your lives in case you go into cardiac arrest. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So if our producer goes into cardiac arrest,
I know what to do. It's fresh in my memory.
Yes, I appreciate that. Yes.
Oh, How are you?
You know what? I am half asleep today, but we are going to let that be a thing. And we're gonna probably get a little crazy today.
Yeah, we're gonna get a little slap happy silly later.
Yeah,
so, I'm all right with it.
Should be kind of fun, and but I know you have some news.
Some news. Yes, I recently got cast in Newsies.
Woohoo!
Over at the Ocala Civic Theater. It will be in May. So, and I mean, I have a very small part, but I'm just excited to be part of a big musical again.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done one of those in a really long time.
Yeah, that should be really fun. So are you like one of the characters that they focus on, or are you just in like the chorus part? Like, how small is your bit?
So I am the newspaper editor. Who appears in like two scenes? I think?
Yeah, like at the window, right?
Yeah, kind of like so. Pulitzer has a big song early on in the show, and he's surrounded by his little entourage of people that work for him.
Yeah.
So he's got his newspaper editor, and then the bookkeeper, and then a secretary, and they sing the song it's called The Bottom Line, and they talk about the wonders of capitalism and how I'm teaching these newsboys a lesson by.
So you're an evil person.
Kind of a minion to the big bad dude.
Okay.
The big bad paper tycoon.
Yeah.
And then I'm also a police officer.
Ooh,
which I'm very excited about because I get to do some
beating?
Combat. I like the way your brain went straight to beating.
Yeah.
Beating up kids on stage.
And, I thought you were just excited about something really cool. Like you get to beat kids on stage. That sounds fantastic.
Beat them up on stage if they're getting on a line. No.
Do you get to work with the fight choreographer?
Yeah, I think so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
really
I'm
cool.
really excited about that because I've never actually done like formal stage fighting, or I've done self-choreographed stage fighting.
Which can always be a little tricky.
It can always be a little tricky, a little dangerous, But you do what you can.
Yeah.
Especially in community theater spaces.
Oh, my God.
But I'm excited about that.
I'm definitely going to have to come watch because I have seen, I mean, not only are you in it, but I have seen bits and pieces of the actual play. Mm-hmm. Of course, I know the movie,
The original movie.
Yeah. But I know they always add more to plays, like newer songs. Like I have not heard the song that you were going to be a part of before.
Yeah.
So
well, and if you want to watch the whole thing, it is on Disney Plus. So you can watch the
actual play,
the new stage musical.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, I'll have to do that.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good because I went to check it out before I went to audition because I wanted to see if it was something I was even interested in being a part of.
Yeah.
Because I knew there wasn't really going to be anything big for me to do in it because it's a lot of kids. It's a lot of teenagers. So it was like, I'll probably be in the ensemble somewhere, and I'm totally cool with that.
I was like, you could pull off a teenager. You could do it, Joan.
But I hear people complain about getting ensemble, and to an extent, I understand that if you're always getting ensemble, but I've always found it so much fun to be in the ensemble because that's where you get to kind of play.
Yeah. And try not to get caught.
Yeah. Not play too much, but you can sort of, so it reminds me of when my first really big musical that I was a part of was Chicago. And that was one of those that I was terrified to go audition for because I was like, there's no way I'm getting in this show. This is bossy. This is not, Yeah. And there were a lot of people auditioning for it. It was a big turnout.
I bet you it was close after the movie came out too, huh?
A few years after that.
Yeah.
But it was exciting for the whole community. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's like a sexy musical too. And it's about bad people doing bad things.
And legs spreading open.
The spread eagle. It was a huge turnout for the theater. And I was like, there's no way I'm getting in the show. So I went and did my singing audition. I did what I felt like was a terrible job on my singing audition. So I went back out into the lobby with my tail between my legs. And I was like, okay, so I blew the singing audition. That's okay. There's still a dance audition. I'm not the world's greatest dancer, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to have fun with it.
Yes.
And by golly, that's what I did. I went in and I had a great time with it. And then the next day I got a call back.
Nice.
And I was so over the moon about just getting a call back for that show. And
that's
getting
amazing.
to go dance in front of the director again. And then I got the call that I was going to be ensemble.
Yay!
And it was so much fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
So much fun. So I'm excited to be part of an ensemble for another big musical like that.
Yeah.
And one other thing I'll mention, I won't just sit here and go on about this forever.
You totally can, because you're involved in theater. So, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. So it's at the Ocala Civic Theater.
Okay.
And if anyone's in the area that's watching this, you can go to their website and buy tickets that way if you're interested in seeing it.
Yeah.
But they just got a new projection system, and it is awesome.
Ooh, are they going to be doing like
projection type
stuff? That is becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw what they've been doing with a lot of that stuff.
I just went and saw Outside Mullingar, the straight play they're doing right now, last night.
Okay.
And they used the new projector, the new back projector, and it was stunning.
I saw this thing on TikTok that they did with the projection, and he was riding a motorcycle, and it was a cop chase, and the cop was chasing him on the projector and blah, blah, blah. And it was him, riding the motorcycle, and you couldn't tell if he was really riding the motorcycle on stage or if it was like him, the lighting, so that it looked like he was. It was really hard to tell, at least on the little, phone screen.
Yeah.
And, but the way they did it was, then they went into slow-mo, and he jumped up and grabbed onto a light pole, and the motorcycle went back into the projection.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
So that's why I was like, was he really riding that, or was he like just doing it on the projection so that it looked like it was,
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was like, that's really getting crazy.
Yeah, being able to use projections in live theater like that is like next level stuff.
Yeah.
It really brings the show to life in a whole new way because Outside Mullingar is about it's about a place in Ireland that's like it's these two farming families and it's only 4 characters. So the set's very minimalist, the staging is very minimalist, but they use this projection of like the Irish countryside and it was just there was constant movement, like there was constant like rain, and then the stars would come out in the night scenes, and then if it was a clear day, it would be, but there'd be clouds that are moving. So it's
that's really cool.
Creates new life. It breathes new life into the show. So I'm really excited to see what other theaters do with this kind of technology. If you are out there listening and you belong to a community theater that's using this kind of technology, let us know in the comments.
Well, even a big theater, leave it in the comments. Yeah. And then I'm also curious, like, what are your thoughts on it? Because one of the questions that was posed on TikTok was is this even live theater anymore? And so, what are your thoughts on, using this technology, do you feel that it enhances the theater experience, or does it make it feel more like you're going to a movie instead of live theater? I'm kind of excited to see what they do with it.
I am too, because I was watching and I was like, you know what? They could start just charging money to show nature films in
they
here.
Could
like a lot of science museums do when they have IMAX.
Yes,
and I'd pay money to go watch, Under the Sea at OCT.
Right?
I really would.
It'd be really fun. And then you also have a burlesque show you're hosting.
Yes. So our next burlesque show under Brick City Glam, that's our group. We're not a troupe because we don't have like a set pool of actors, of performers.
Yeah.
Anyone can sign up, and then it's kind of decided on a case-by-case basis who gets into the show, if their act is right and appropriate for the show. So it's not a troupe.
Okay.
But, our collective is called Brick City Glam, and we're doing our next show April 23rd. The theme is Earth Day, so the title of the show is Naughty by Nature.
Nice. That's amazing. I love it.
Thank you, Darian.
Yes.
She comes up with all kinds of, our producer comes up with all kinds of catchy titles and, you know.
Can they get tickets online if they're in the area?
Yes. I don't think, tickets have not gone on sale yet.
Okay.
But look at the Facebook page. You can follow the Facebook page, Brick City Glam.
Okay.
The public page, and look for tickets.
We'll make sure to link it
Yeah.
down in the description too.
Awesome.
And all of that kind of stuff. We'll link OCT too so people can quickly find
absolutely.
it.
Should be a fun time.
Yeah, that should be really awesome. Well, cool. Well, since we're kind of sitting here before we head on into our little, we Googled it for you.
We Googled it. Googled things for you.
This isn't necessarily performing arts, but it still falls into the arts category. I'm on the board of the Magnolia Art Exchange here in Ocala. And
How did I not know that?
Well, I guess I don't really say much about being on the board. The boards there is kind of, we're more background, and we're just there to make sure that the money flows correctly. And hopefully, it's quite a few new board members right now. We've got some of the old guard and then, to kind of help things. But there's some really good fresh blood in there. And I think it's going to help shake up and we had one of the board members go and interview all of the previous artists to see what we could do better, what were their complaints, because it's an incubator for anybody that doesn't know, and every 6 months, the people that have studio space, most of them. I think all of them are possibly on scholarship. So basically they pay a minimal fee just for basically maintenance, but every 6 months they have to renew, and they can do that up to 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm still getting to learn everything about it. But anyway, we're having our big annual art heist.
Ooh.
And so if you're local to Ocala and it's kind of it's a white elephant type of event. I was
going to say, can I run in there and
steal
art and hide it under my trench coat?
I had always heard about it and I never knew what it was. And so I'm actually on the committee this year. So I'm like, okay, you guys have to explain to me exactly what this is because I haven't been to one yet.
Yeah.
And it's basically like a way to, so you buy a ticket to come to the event. Okay. And then if your ticket is drawn, you get a piece of art, but you don't know what piece of art you're getting. But if the person behind you, and their ticket is called or whatever, they wanted your piece of art, they have the option to steal it away by purchasing it.
Oh, okay.
So, so if there is a piece of art that you really wanted, you could potentially be able to purchase it away from the person who won it.
Okay.
So that's why it's called an art heist or whatever,
Yeah, almost like a dirty auction.
It is. I don't know. Yeah, but so that is April 1st.
Okay.
And
April 1st.
We'll put links in there too. And if you're a local artist, we're still looking for donated artwork and stuff, because that's really what that's one of the big events that helps us to make sure that the money flow is there and to keep artists on scholarship and stuff like that, so that we don't have to charge them large amounts of rent and they can work on building their their business, their art business.
And so Magnolia Art Exchange is primarily for visual artists, right?
Yeah, primarily for visual arts. That's why I said it's not really performing arts, but it's still in the arts. Yeah. So anyway, but now that we've told everybody what we've been up to and all that kind of jazz, should we read them facts?
I guess we should read them facts.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to be reading.
Yeah.
And stopping myself and going, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think you got the one with the fun name, too, so good luck on that one.
I sure did. That's a very fun name. And if I butcher any of these names,
Yeah, and we're going to see how well we do reading-wise. Oh, you know what? We should also tell them there is going to be, and we might even be there, we're looking at going there, but in April in St. Augustine area, there's going to be a spoken word festival, like poetry fest type of a thing. So, we're working on getting that information, and hopefully we're going to go hang out and
hopefully it lines up with our schedules and we can go. That would be really, really cool.
It would be really fun. So, but that being said, we are not spoken word artists, so don't judge us by our reading skills.
Yeah. I'm glad I have enough light to see these.
Are you getting that trombone thing?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's fine.
That's why I kept on my glasses today. Okay, so I'll go ahead and read first. All of these facts are a little history about burlesque, since we had talked about it with Sally Bidash.
Yes.
And we weren't quite sure what it all was exactly. So, let's go with what Google says. And these are... the ones I'm reading are from Flux magazine, which does make me feel like you might have some indigestion, but it is FLUX magazine, and we'll link the magazines or directly to the articles below.
Link everything.
Everything. There'll be so many links you won't know what link to click on in this episode. It's just amazing. And so I'm going to read this first fact here. And when burlesque dancing started, it didn't include any stripping.
Okay.
The word burlesque comes from the Italian word burlesco. And I probably mispronounced that since it's Italian, but we're going to go with that.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah. And that means mockery or making fun of. And it started in the Victorian era, and the word burlesque was used to describe parody plays. Burlesque dancing transformed into striptease shows in the 20th century. So that's probably when the vaudeville kind of started coming into play and stuff. Yeah.
I wonder what was... I'm curious to know what was the catalyst to incorporate the striptease.
Yeah. Boredom. Money, necessity. Yeah. I think it's probably more necessity, and I do believe that there is something you're going to be reading there that talks about that, why they did it and stuff like that too. So a little backstory on the cards that you're holding here too, since you had no idea what I was putting on and I didn't put any backstories, and we just said let's this is what we're doing today. Yeah. And Joan had no idea.
Yeah. And by the way, we are looking at down the line, when we have a little more time to plan it, we would love to do a comprehensive history of burlesque.
Yes.
This is just
we've just had a crazy week, and this is when we could record for you guys. So.
Yeah, we want to do some real research for that and look at some books and some websites that have a lot of really good information for that. But for now, this is fun.
This is just to get you wet your whistle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. That sounds.
I almost said it. This is to get you wet, but I was like, that's not right.
I mean, that too, sure.
Oh, maybe it could. I don't know. I mean, they're watching this in their home. They could do whatever they want, I guess. Yeah.
Just don't tell us about it.
Don't comment on that one. We don't need comments on that. Let's just keep that in your house.
Yeah.
All right, you go next, Joan.
Okay, so this is from Time magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Burlesque stars were known for their colorful pseudonyms. The legendary performer known as Blaze Starr wrote the foreword to Behind the Burlesque, But the fun language didn't stop there. The circuit of towns the burlesque shows traveled was known as the Wheel. The man who sang during a chorus number was the tit singer.
I love that.
I read that and giggled. Because I'm 12. I heard. The tit singer. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like that.
So have you heard any other lingo? Like...
Not like that.
No, well, not. But I mean, you know, I'm just wondering how much of the lingo has, like, stuck around.
I've definitely heard burlesque.
Yeah.
I've heard that term.
Yeah, that one I've heard of.
That nickname thrown around a lot.
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting that they called the towns, like their circuits, the wheel.
The Wheel.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know why.
Yeah.
I'm assuming maybe they moved in a circular.
I could be. And, you know, they probably had wheels, that, like wooden wheel, like, you know, oh my God. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, how old was this? They probably had horses and carts and stuff. That's what I was thinking.
Can you imagine?
A wagon?
Can you imagine hauling all your burlesque show props and costumes by a horse and buggy?
What's in there? Oh, just feathers and things.
Some feathers and...
You know what we also need to research, and if anybody can point us to this research, this would be great. But I want to know how pasties came about.
I was going to say the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And what the first ones were like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I would imagine, and I could be way off base here, I would imagine it was some kind of loophole where the laws changed and they were like, well, you can't show nipples. And they said, well, you know what? Then we'll cover the nipples.
We'll cover everything else. Yep.
And make it really creative too.
Yes.
I'm always amazed at the dancers who wear the pasties with the tassels. And when they can do the spinny thing. I'm like, wow.
That's amazing.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
That's a skill.
You know?
I'd put that on my CV if I had that as a skill.
I would too. You know, I'm laughing so hard.
Every job I intervied for would be like, what?
Yeah. Can twirl tassels with my tits.
Yeah. Like, you'd be impressed if you understood what it took.
I took belly dancing.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, several years ago. And I went with my friend. And it was a lot of fun. But we got to the shimmy part. Okay. Oh. And she was a large-chested girl. And she says to me, I feel like I'm having a boxing match inside my bra. And I said, well, that's okay. Mine are playing chase.
Did she report any soreness or bruising?
You know, I never followed up on that conversation. But I told her I didn't have to worry about that. Mine were just busy chasing each other. So
hey, we're going to belly dance class. All right, I got to tape my boobs first.
Yep, she got to have boxing match, and mine were playing the never-ending game of tag. Because they couldn't catch each other.
One's over here, one's over there.
One's over there. Yeah. Just, you know. All right. Next burlesque fact. Again, from Indigestion magazine. I mean, Flux magazine. The burlesque shows have 3 different types of dancing: cabaret, striptease, and traditional burlesque. The cabaret doesn't include any striptease, as most of the dancers appear topless, so they don't even have to. They're just there. They're hanging out already.
Okay, so they're...
So I would imagine that would be more like, what's the movie? The Moulin Rouge type of a thing, you know, where they're just walking around in pasties.
Yeah.
And
they're just like, here I am.
And corsets, you know, and here's the boobs.
Okay.
So the striptease focuses on the expansive costumes and how well the dancer uses the costumes. And traditional burlesque is all about humor and satire. Each act in the traditional burlesque relies on a story, doesn't include any stripping unless it is required in the scene. There is also the new burlesque or neo-burlesque that is based on the traditional burlesque with a striptease and modern dances, which is mostly in America. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I always think of the striptease as the ooh, 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 ooh. Because a a lot of the burlesque dancers, well, not a lot, but a few I've known will do that. They'll take like a glove off and then they're like, "Ooh, I did that." You know?
Yeah. You saw my hand.
What else am I going to take off? You know, so it's very playful. And,
yes.
And then, that makes sense that the traditional burlesque, like Sally B was saying when she was here, that it's a parody art form and that it's meant to be more comedic and making fun.
Yeah. Which I think she does very well.
Yeah.
Because most of her acts, and Jenny Castle, who we referenced.
So funny.
So funny. Yes.
Just hilarious.
Yes, they do. Yeah. I think Jenny Castle has like a Waffle House act that she does too.
Oh my gosh, I gotta see that.
Yeah.
And those tend to be my favorite acts.
Yeah. The weird ones.
The weird ones that are kind of poking fun and they're funny.
Yes.
Like when I went and saw the Valentine's show they did, they did this opening act where they were, and I guess it's an act they've done before, but where they were mirroring each other as like this Southern debutante, like cotillion girl, she's raised in the South, and she's doing it, and they're doing it to Touch Myself. When I Think About You, I Touch Myself, that song. And it was so good.
Yeah.
And it was still sexy, but it was so funny.
Yes.
And that made it so entertaining.
Yeah. I love it when they use the big fans.
Yeah.
The coordination to not drop while you're stripping your clothes off and not show anything.
Yeah.
Like I would be
and
dropping things left and right.
And that was what I thought burlesque was when I was approached to host a show for the first time.
Okay.
I was like, burlesque, so that's like stripping with feathers, and that's what that is, and I found out it was so much more.
It is so much more.
My initial thought was, I think because I had seen the musical Gypsy when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's what that is. And it's just stripping, and they have feather fans and they hide things, and that's all. So,
that's all, yeah.
But that can be very beautiful too.
It can be done very beautifully. Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen
very
burlesque
gracefully.
dancers with like feather fans that are like human sized.
I was going to say, I know. There's like some of them that like I don't even know how they're managing to hold on to it because it's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you operating that thing?
Yeah. That would just be, maybe their tits are helping them hold it up. I don't know.
I would lose my feathers. There'd be feathers everywhere.
It'd be done. All right, girl. You got 2 more facts over there.
I do. I have one shorter one and one longer one. So, again, from Time magazine. Author Leslie Zemeckis writes about many theories that trace the origins of stripping. Was it around 1904 when Millie DeLeon removed her garter? Was it in 1917 when a performer began taking off her costume just before she got off stage? Was it in 1925 when a performer removed a costume item, a cuff, she noticed had gotten dirty? Was it an accident caused by a broken strap? The world may never know. So
it's kind of like up in the air when the striptease started happening.
So it's kind of different legends, I guess, different kind of,
Well, and
ideas.
Things were like, it's interesting with like the cuff too, because there was a time where a woman taking off her gloves was like, oh, you're showing your arms, and
Well, yeah, and what's interesting about that too is probabilities of things happening are greater than we realize. I saw this speech, this talk with a mathematician he was a statistician, and he was talking about how like we think the probabilities of these specific events are so like things are so improbable, but they're really not. Yeah. So the likelihood that all these types of things could have kind of happened around the same time period. Yeah. And then it kind of, coalesced into this art form evolving this way is totally probable.
Totally probable. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it kind of ties in with your next bit that they did on there. And so I will just let you read it.
Okay. This is actually really fascinating stuff. So, Unlike many of the women and men who are involved in today's feminist-friendly neo-burlesque scene, in which empowerment and controlling your own body are central tenets, the dancers who pioneered the format were in it for different reasons. And this is a quote. "I get that all the time. Were these the early feminists? No, they were really surviving," says Leslie Zemeckis. "I don't think they felt empowered. They were working and doing a job. Some of them loved what they did and put a lot of effort into it and a lot of artistry, but I don't think they thought they were the forerunners of independence. They had no choice. A lot of them coming from hard economic times and abusive situations. Burlesque was what they could do."
Yeah.
So it was a survival.
It was a survival
mechanism.
Thing. It kind of makes me think of,
like
the bar gals, and stuff.
It was work.
It was work.
Yeah.
You did what you could do to make money,
Yeah.
You couldn't make money acting,
Yeah, and not to I'm not trying to liken it to prostitution.
No, me either, but it just kind of makes me think of that same thing where
there's a parallel in the evolution where I think nowadays, even though in most places it's still illegal, which I personally disagree with, sex working is more empowered by people doing it on their own, working as self-employed sex workers, where back in the day, they answered to abusive people, and that kind of thing. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there was, a lot more stigma for them doing it. They got shunned if people knew that they did that kind of stuff,
Well,
So
even and this isn't quite the same thing, but do you remember the Super Bowl years and years ago with Janet Jackson?
Yes,
and that
where
whole scandal.
the costume. Yeah, her costume broke.
And oh my God, it was such a huge. I mean, that was a huge news story for months and months.
Yeah,
and I was personally like, I don't see why this was ever headline news.
Yeah, I don't know why that. It was quick. It was done. She fixed the problem, and on they went. There are costume malfunctions every day.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it speaks to an unhealthy attitude about sexuality and especially body.
Yes.
Body image. But yeah, it was I heard arguments oh, because kids are watching, and I'm like, it's a breast.
Right?
Not to get political, but
her hoo-ha didn't pop out. There was no male exposure.
No,
there was, it's most likely those same kids suckled on a breast for many a year. Or at least months.
So I am glad that the collective attitude about things like burlesque and stripping are changing.
Yeah.
Where it is becoming a more empowered art form.
It is. And I did, some of these articles were a little bit older, a few years older.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe on one of them that I was reading, they're saying, I think even the end of that quote that I didn't grab was that the new burlesque, the neo-burlesque in America here is opening it up more to the world. So, I don't know. I want to say that one was 2019 from Flux Magazine. So, it would be interesting now that we're in 2023, how much has that really developed across the world and the type of burlesque that's being performed.
Especially now that live performing arts are opening back up and people are going to see shows again.
Yes.
So
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately there's other movements happening here to kind of stifle some of that stuff. But but hopefully we can keep opening up minds and doing new things.
Absolutely.
Because we talked about that with Sally and how empowered the women get and stuff. So
there's real energy to it.
There is. Absolutely. And men, you can't say you don't enjoy it.
Yeah. And there are male burlesque performers out there too.
There are, yes.
And what they do is it's so cool. It's so cool to see because they also have that that balance of masculine, feminine energy that they're playing with, and it's like they're like men will wear pasties, and not all the time, but sometimes they will.
Yeah,
like for our burlesque show, it was so cute. Our we had a male stage kitten. Actually, I think they're non-binary. I don't want to be incorrect about that.
Okay.
But they wore pasties even though they didn't have to.
Yes.
Legally,
yeah.
And when asked why, they said solidarity.
Yes. There you go.
Like, that's so cool.
That's really cool. Well, guys, yay. Yeah. Thank you for joining us here on Performance AnxieTEA. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks for joining us on this, crazy little, episode that we just did where we were all over the place and Googled some facts for you and all that kind of stuff. But we'll definitely, as we said, dig into it more in the future and get more of a history on it because we're curious as well. So.
And if you had anything to add, please comment.
Absolutely. Comment anyway. And, we had somebody call for merch, and it's coming. It's coming.
We're working on it.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next episode of Performance AnxieTEA.